What's going on, guys? Aero here, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about my hopes for Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch, as well. It's hard to believe Nintendo's E3 presentation is just a few days away. Now the one thing that we do know for sure is that Nintendo is going to be showing Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch at their E3 presentation. This is definitely going to be like their focused game this year at E3, similar to how last year it was Super Mario Odyssey. This is definitely going to be their big game that they're going to have a lot of cool reveals for, so I'm definitely very excited to see it. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about all of my hopes for Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch, and pretty much everything that this game needs to have for it to be the best Super Smash Bros. Game in my opinion. And so to go through everything that I have, I'm going to break up this video into 3 parts. So we're going to have stages, modes, and then characters. And so that's basically how I'll go through in the video, talking about everything that I want. But before we get started, I do want to let you guys know that I am giving away a $20 Nintendo eShop gift card. And so if you guys want to have a chance to win that, all you got to do is click on the link in the description, or you could click on the pinned comment of this video as well. And that'll give you a chance to enter if you guys want to win that. It is open worldwide, so even if you win and you're in a different country, I'll just give you the same amount in your currency. So yeah, hopefully you guys have a good shot at winning that. But anyways, let's get on with the video. Alright, so starting off this video with stages, I'm going to go through some of the stages that I'd like to see return in Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch, as well as give an idea for a few stages that I would like to see as brand new ones inside of this game as well. So from Super Smash Bros. Melee, one stage that I would love to see return in Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch is Fountain of Dreams. I think that this would look really cool in HD because it is a pretty colorful stage, and it's also a competitive stage as well, because I know a lot of people love playing this stage when they play competitive Melee, so it would work in the competitive scene for Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch as well, so I would love to see this stage return. Now from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, one stage that I would like to see return is Summit. This was just a stage that I had a lot of fun with when I used to play Brawl a lot back in the day, so I think it was a lot of fun, and I think this would just look really cool in HD as well, with especially like the water and the snow and all of that. I feel like it would look really nice, and it's definitely a pretty unique stage with the slopes and everything, so I would love to see this stage return in Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. Now from Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U, the one stage that I'd actually really like to see return in Super Smash Bros. On the Switch is actually from the 3DS, and that is the Pac-Man stage. This was like Pac-Man stage, and I would love to see this stage in HD on the Nintendo Switch. The thing was, I hated the Pac-Man stage that came with Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U. I just didn't feel like it represented Pac-Man that much at all. Like, it was just a really bad moving stage with a whole bunch of obstacles and stuff like that, and I feel like the other stage from the 3DS is much more iconic because that's like the Pac-Man game that everybody knows, so I would love to see that stage become Pac-Man's default stage for Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. Alright, so in terms of new ideas for stages, I actually talked about one of these a while back on Twitter, but I would love to see an Ultra Space stage from Pokemon Sun and Moon. I think that would look really cool on the Nintendo Switch for Super Smash Bros. Like, you could have like a whole stage for that, and then have like it change different locations, like, or it could just be in Ultra Space as well. I created like a mock-up for this as well, but it obviously doesn't look good here. I feel like it would be really cool if you could visit like Buzzwole's like Ultra Space World, and then come back and visit Nihiligo's and like go through different Ultra Space worlds. That would be really cool. So I think something like that would just be really nice, especially with like Ultra Necrozma's theme playing in the background. There's a lot of cool things that they could do with that. And as for another new stage idea that I have, I think this one is pretty easy and it's probably going to happen no matter what, but I would love to see some type of stage from Super Mario Odyssey. I feel like New Dunk City would probably be the most iconic one, but they could do something like what they did with the new Super Mario Bros. U stage for Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U, where basically they pretty much had that stage but it changed different worlds. They could kind of do that here where they changed different kingdoms, like you could be fighting in New Dunk City, and then all of a sudden you could go to the Cascade Kingdom and then go to the moon. So there's a lot of cool things that they could do with that as well, and then especially having like Jump Up Superstar or something like that playing in the background, it would be really cool to have. Alright, so for new modes that I want to see in Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch, I definitely want to see a new party mode, and by that I mean basically like if you invite some friends over to your house and you have local multiplayer, I want to see a new type of fun mode where everybody can play. Obviously this was what Smash Tour was supposed to be like with Smash Bros. On the Wii U, and a lot of people just didn't like that. I can agree with that as well. Like, I played that with my friends a few times when they came over, and we just didn't have a lot of fun going around the board finding different characters and collecting different stats. In the end, we just decided to play normal Smash because we thought that was more fun. So I would love to see a new type of party mode be introduced in Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. Find a more clever way to have a whole bunch of friends over and still have some type of new fun mode to play. The one idea that I do have is actually something that they did do with Smash Bros. On the Wii U, and that was at the end of Smash Tour when you had the final battle. Pretty much every single life that you had or every single stock was a brand new character, and I would love to see that become like a separate mode or like a separate party mode to have in Smash Bros. On the Wii U, where like you and all your friends can pick like 4 different characters, 5 different characters, and every time you die you can actually have a new character become your next new character that you use. I think something like that would be a lot of fun, but obviously there's a lot of cool ideas that I'm sure they could come up with as well for a new type of party mode. Now, of course, the one mode that I think everybody would love to have for Smash Bros on the Nintendo Switch is a Subspace Emissary mode, or like a heavy story-focused single-player mode. If you guys played Super Smash Bros. Brawl, then I'm sure a lot of you remember that there was a Subspace Emissary mode in that game, and that was just so much fun to play because there was a whole entire adventure that you could go through. You could do that with a friend as well, like I think you could have 2 people at once going through that, and that was so much fun. But the best part was seeing all these characters interact with each other, because you would never see characters like Mario and Solid Snake interact, and it was just so cool to see how they would be like when the two met. And there was a whole entire like evil team that you had to take down as well, because all the antagonists from the other games would try to team up against you, and it was just so much fun. Some of my best memories from being a kid come from playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl and staying up late at night trying to get through Subspace Emissary and trying to get through some of the hard levels and beating Taboo with my friends. It was just so much fun when I played that, and I would love to have some type of single player mode like that come for Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. Now, a few years ago, when Mr. Sakurai was still developing Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS and Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U, someone did interview him and asked if there was going to be a story-based mode for Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U, and Mr. Sakurai replied saying that he probably wasn't going to do a story mode because he didn't like how when they created Super Smash Bros. Brawl story mode with Subspace Emissary, he didn't like how all the cutscenes from the game got leaked online ahead of time, and he says to avoid that happening, that's why he doesn't want to put a Subspace Emissary mode or some type of story mode inside Smash Bros. On the Wii U. Now, personally, I feel like this is a terrible excuse to not have a story mode or single player mode inside of Super Smash Bros. Because I feel like at this day and age, everything is gonna leak ahead of time anyway. It's like inevitable at this point because of just how so many people can get a hold of games ahead of time. It's pretty much happened every single time a big release has come out for any single game. It doesn't even have to be a Nintendo game. I remember last year with like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, before it came out on the Nintendo Switch, it was on the Nintendo Wii U's eShop servers ahead of time. People were able to download the games, and then they were able to look through all the cutscenes, and people were uploading the final Ganon battle like a few weeks before the game even came out. With Super Mario Odyssey, I remember that game came out, some stores gave the copies ahead of time, and people were uploading the final Bowser fight. So I mean, leaks are always going to happen, and cutscenes are always going to be uploaded online, so it's pretty much always just going to happen. I feel like that's not a reason to not want to put a mode like that in Super Smash Bros. Because that's just not going to be avoidable at this point. Now, my favorite mode inside of Super Smash Bros. Brawl was definitely Subspace Emissary, but my second favorite mode was Boss Battles, and I'm pretty sure that Boss Battles was unlocked after you completed Subspace Emissary, but this was a ton of fun to play as well. And basically in Boss Battles, inside of the Subspace Emissary mode, or like the adventure mode, there were so many bosses that you were able to fight along the way, and then in Boss Battles, you could pick a character and fight all the different bosses that you fought in Subspace Emissary, and it was a ton of fun because you could fight all these bosses in order, and you could set the difficulty as well, and pick different characters, because inside the Subspace Emissary mode, whenever you fought a boss, you had to use the character that they gave you, but inside of this mode, you were able to use any character that you wanted, and all the bosses were pretty hard as well, so it's just a ton of fun to play. Now, with Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U, they also added some new bosses into the game, so it would be really cool if they could have a boss battle mode inside of Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch, but also put some of these new bosses that they put inside of the Wii U version. I think it would be a ton of fun to have some of those iconic bosses from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but then also some of the new bosses like Metal Face and Yellow Devil. I think it would be really cool. Now, another new type of mode that I'd love to see in Super Smash Bros. On the Switch is some type of online party mode. And basically, whenever you're playing Smash Bros. Online, pretty much the only thing that you can do is fight with other players, and you could do like team battles, but that's pretty much all that you can do. I think it would be really cool if they could incorporate some type of new mode where the objective is different and not just hurting the other person as much as you can. I think it would be really cool if maybe they could have some sort of team-based mode that you could play online with people, or maybe some other mode where it's just different and not just trying to hurt other people. I don't really have any ideas right now, but I just want to see some type of other mode that you could play online. I think having something like Smash Run online with friends or some random people could be a lot of fun, but I'm sure there's also some other creative ideas that they could come up with as well. And finally, the last new mode that I'd love to see be incorporated into Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch is some type of ranked online mode. And the thing with Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U is that there is a for fun and for glory mode, but there still isn't any type of ranking system inside of Super Smash Bros. Wii U. They pretty much just had this thing called Global Smash Power, where it would show you how many people you're better than, but it wasn't a lot of fun because you couldn't see exactly where you stood against other people in the world. Now, Mr. Sakurai has mentioned how he feels like an online ranking mode wouldn't be very good, and because of how there's millions of people that play Super Smash Bros, he feels like having a whole entire ranking system to show where you stand among millions of other people just wouldn't be the best idea. Now, the thing about this is I don't feel like it's entirely necessary to have a whole entire list to show where every single person who plays Super Smash Bros online stands among all the other people that play. I feel like it will only be necessary for like a top 100 or top 200 or something like that, because that would be able to show us who's the best in the world, and I feel like that's what is really the most necessary, because those are the people who are going to be playing this game competitively. So yeah, I feel like it's very necessary to have an online ranking system for Super Smash Bros. On the Switch, because that could definitely show us where some of the best players are in the world, and it would be really cool to see if some of the best players that are playing competitively can get taken down by others, like if Zero is number 1 at the boards and somebody else is able to beat him and take that spot, and having that being able to be seen on the leaderboards would just be really cool. I think it could also be useful because maybe there's some players who are just really good at Super Smash Bros, but they don't play in any like tournaments or competitive places, and I think having that being shown at the leaderboards could be really cool as well. Like if some people just play really well at Super Smash Bros online, but they don't actually attend any events, I think it would be really cool to see some of the best players in the world and just where they are. And finally, the thing that you guys have all been waiting for, what characters would I like to see in Super Smash Bros on the Nintendo Switch? Now I just have a list here with me of all the characters that I'd like to see in Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. Some of these are veteran characters, some of these are newcomers as well, and I guess I'll just go through the list here and give you guys all the characters that I have. So the first character that I have here are the Ice Climbers, and obviously the Ice Climbers were in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but they were cut from Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS and the Wii U, and Mr. Sakurai mentioned in an interview that the only reason that they decided to cut these characters was because they couldn't get them working perfectly in the Nintendo 3DS version, and because of how in Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS and the Wii U, they wanted to keep the rosters the same, they had to end up cutting the Ice Climbers. But the really interesting thing is that Mr. Sakurai mentioned in an interview that at one point in development they had the Ice Climbers working perfectly fine in the Wii U version, but then they decided to cut them because they couldn't get them working in the 3DS. And I feel like that this would mean it would be really easy to get the Ice Climbers in the Nintendo Switch version of Smash, because they pretty much could just bring over the one that they had working on the Wii U and bring that over to the Nintendo Switch, and it would pretty much be new for us because we never got to see what they look like on the Wii U in the first place. Now another character that I would love to see appear in Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch would be King K. Rool. I know a lot of people say that there's not that many villain characters and antagonist characters inside of Smash Bros, and I feel like King K. Rool could definitely help fix that problem. Some of the other characters that I'd like to see in Super Smash Bros. On the Switch would be Wolf from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. He was a pretty cool character and I liked how he was a little bit different than Fox. I think a lot of people liked Wolf's style as well, and he would also be another antagonist character. I think Chibi Robo could also be a really cool newcomer to add in Super Smash Bros. On the Switch as well. Chibi Robo is definitely another character that I would love to see. I think that there's a lot of cool potentials for attacks that they could do, as well as how he has the plug. I think they could use the plug as like a grab, so that would be really cool. Maybe it could be like a tether as well, where like you could grab onto the ledge with it. There's a lot of cool things that you could do with Chibi Robo. Also, if you guys remember in the beginning of the year how we had a Nintendo Direct Mini, there was actually a picture of Chibi Robo on fire that Nintendo tweeted out a day before that Direct. I think it would be really cool if they actually referred to that or somehow connected that back to having Chibi Robo in Super Smash Bros. So some of the other characters that I would love to have in Super Smash Bros. On the Switch would be Snake from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. He was definitely a very unique character and I loved playing with him and using his different attacks, so I think having him return would be awesome. I would love to have Min Min in Super Smash Bros. As well. Maybe just not even Min Min, but some other ARMS character, like having maybe Spring Man or Ribbon Girl. I think something like that would be awesome as well. They could definitely have like a unique grab attack because of how they have such long arms, so that could be like their main way of attacking. There's definitely a lot of cool possibilities from that. I think that it also makes a lot of sense to put in a popular Gen 7 Pokemon, as last time we got Greninja, who was a pretty popular Pokemon in Gen 6, but maybe this time around they could put in a popular Gen 7 Pokemon. In terms of starters, I think a lot of people would probably want Decidueye, as Decidueye is definitely a very popular starter Pokemon. He was also in Pokken Tournament as well, but maybe they could put in some other Gen 7 Pokemon such as Mimikyu or some other Pokemon like that. Now one thing that I know a lot of people say about the Super Smash Bros. Roster is that there's not that many female characters and that there's not a lot of female representation, and I also feel like there's a lot of potential for really cool female characters to be in Super Smash Bros. On the Switch as well. I mean, some female characters that I can think of from the top of my head would be Dixie Kong, Pyra or Mithra, Midna, Shantae, or they could put in my favorite female Nintendo character of all time, which is Lyn, or they could put in one of the best female characters ever inside of Super Smash Bros., which would be Cooking Mama. But anyway, I feel like that there's a lot of potential for really cool female characters to be inside of Super Smash Bros. And I also think that the roster this time is just going to be amazing. I mean, we've heard many rumors saying that the roster this time is going to make people jump out of their seats. So we're just going to have to wait and see. And I'm sure Sakurai's got a lot of surprises. I mean, he's very unpredictable and he's definitely shown us a lot of crazy things in the past. So I can't wait to see what the roster is going to be like for Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. And so there you go guys, that's everything that I would love to have in Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to click that like button, and also comment down below and let me know how you guys feel about this. Do you agree with some of my thoughts? What would you love to see in Super Smash Bros. On the Switch? Be sure to let me know all of your thoughts down below. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Smash Bros. Content in the future, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at @ActualAero, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.